As a general gaming rule of thumb, seeing a publisher market something as blank meets blank should probably set off your "that's too ambitious and will probably suck" alarm bells. Double trouble if they merge the dang titles. Not that I wouldn't play me some Red Dead Space. However, it would seem Super Dungeon Maker may be the exception to these rules, because calling this cute, cartoony pixel art level editor The Legend of Zelda meets Super Mario Maker works almost unreasonably well. So much so that apparently every gaming outlet ever has taken notice. So, having confirmed the headlines, let's spend a minute or two unpacking this little game's story, gameplay, content, and style, after which I hope you'll have a better idea of whether Super Dungeon Maker is right for you. While SDM doesn't yet feature a traditional single-player campaign or really any of the 3 story micrometrics I typically track, there are a few chicken nuggets of lore scattered about the game world, and they add up to this. Long ago, when the ancient bird goddess, we'll call her Mother Goose, created the land, she left behind mysterious golden eggs with magical properties that her disciples then locked away deep underground. I guess because that's the last place a flying creature would think to look? Lucky for Fink, our fine-feathered playable character friend, chickens are near flightless and apparently perfectly fine with a little dungeon farming. In said dungeons, you'll encounter a who's who of dungeon cliches. You'll face spiders and spikes, wield swords and shields, unlock doors with gold keys, and smash every clay pot in sight. So it's very much an old school dungeon crawler kind of experience, with some Metroidvania tendencies in that certain items are required to progress past Super Dungeon Maker's variety of environmental obstacles. Once you've seen enough of what the devs and community have to offer, which may take you quite a while given the already 1,000 plus dungeons available, SDM will hand over its digital chisel and allow you to take full control over the dungeon sculpting process. Now, as a relative newbie to the level editor genre, I made an early mess of my creations, and generally had more fun playing what the professionals provided me. Still, it's an intuitive system with an impressive degree of customization options, and one that should result in increasingly complex and compelling dungeons as the devs further build out the game over the next 6 or so months of planned early access. This inevitably brings me to my only real gripe with Super Dungeon Maker, which is that it currently feels less like a chicken and more like an egg. As is, SDM does almost nothing new, and I felt I had seen about everything the game had to offer me within the first 10 or so hours. So unless you're dying to BYOD, I may suggest circling back to this one at full release to see what's been added. Before we conclude, a few words on the game's style. As evidenced by its quirky, charming character animations and bright, happy color palette, Super Dungeon Maker's art design is meant to evoke feel-good, family-friendly feelings, something Gamescom already recognized. Meanwhile, SDM's simple orchestral arrangements, while at times repetitive, harken back to N64-era Zelda titles that placed an emphasis on leitmotif, that is, short, recurring musical themes linked to a person or place. And finally, Super Dungeon Maker boasts a surprisingly diverse range of sound effects, which are packed with character and also harken back to those dungeon crawlers of yesterday. All in all, SDM is a fun, if low-stakes experience that's as unlikely to astonish you as it is to disappoint. If I'm honest, it feels a little silly to score such a simple and still developing title, but it wouldn't be Mega the Micro if we didn't add the small. That in mind, Super Dungeon Maker earns the following metric scores and a tentative Mega score of 3.09 out of 5. Until next time, this is Scope, and thanks for watching.